Don't you want to be in my TikTok later? Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
It's not be real time yet.
No, not be real time. We'll talk about that.
Hey, we're the only thing between you and a break, so we'll try to keep this a little bit lively. I'm Bart Kaler, host of the Higher Ed Marketer podcast. I'm here with a great panel of social media experts. I'm going to let them introduce themselves briefly, and then we've got a few questions we're going to talk through about some of the current state of social media. So, Brian?
Brian Piper, I'm the Director of Content Strategy and Assessment at the University of Rochester.
I am Andrew Caswell. I am the Senior Social Strategist at Middlebury College.
Howdy, I'm Nick Wilson. I am Director of Social Media at Texas A&M. Howdy is our official greeting at Texas A&M.
I'm Ellen Depke. I'm the Director of Social Media at Michigan State University.
Great. Thank you for all joining us today. We're going to just jump right into some current issues. And I'd like to kind of hear how you're all kind of looking at this new shift, especially for the Generation Z and what's coming up with Alpha. How are you dealing kind of with vertical formats? So you've got audiences now that you're looking at Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. How are you all kind of dealing with that? I'll start with you, Andrew.
With me?
Yes.
We are using them.
Okay.
To be more specific than that, our recent yield campaign was all vertical video, shared across all of those platforms. So we looked at it as an opportunity to not A/B test content, but to A/B test platforms with the same sort of video, the same description of the content. How did it do on Shorts versus TikTok or Reels? What was the student interview versus the sense of place stuff versus the faculty member? So we're still looking at the data, but we really leaned into the vertical video for this yield.
And are you using one piece and you're editing for vertical, or are you just natively doing it vertical?
Natively doing it vertical.
Okay. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, so it's two kind of separate things for us. You have to look at the data, right? People want to see vertical video nowadays. Horizontal video just isn't hitting the same. But at the same time, our governor in Texas doesn't like TikTok. Our state government banned it. It's even banned on the Wi-Fi on our campus. So we are not using TikTok. But we do have YouTube Shorts. We have Instagram Reels. We have things like that. And so we are shooting vertical first. And we're going with that because after 6 months to a year, horizontal video data was just showing us that people weren't engaging, people weren't watching, they aren't interested in that.
Okay. Ellen, how about you guys?
So we kind of went all in on Instagram vertical Reels and found that they were working for a while, but we competitively track 39 schools, including Nick's, FYI. And we found on average, if we look at all of those schools, what we're seeing is we compared vertical Reels versus all other types of content, and they're about the same as what we found. So we're trying to switch to a little bit more of a content strategy where it's a mix. We found that we weren't getting as great of engagement when it was just vertical video.
Okay, good. How about Brian? How about you guys at University of Rochester?
Yeah, we're leaning heavily into vertical, but I think it's important to start off by looking at what content it is you're going to create before you fit that into a channel. Figure out who the audience is, what strategy you're supporting with that, and then figure out if your target audience is on TikTok or on Reels, and that's where you're trying to reach them, then yeah, vertical is the way to go.
Okay.
Can I add one little thing about vertical video and content creation, specifically vertical video? We just heard about the importance of accessibility, and we know all of that. Adding the open captions to video is something to really keep in mind when you are creating those vertical videos. You don't want the captions to go across someone's body in a place that would be very uncomfortable for them to see people staring at that while they're reading the open captions. So it is sort of a learning curve, and how am I composing the vertical video to take that into account as I'm creating that content.
That's great, thank you. And one follow-up question on that for each of you, if you want to talk about it. Facebook Reels, how are you guys into that? What's going on with that? How are you using that, and what's the audience for that?
Next question. No, what I can say for that is our Instagram goes automatically over to the Facebook. We've set it up for that. We have sort of really ramped down the importance of Facebook and overall strategy.
Okay.
We keep it there because we know people look at it there. But it is what goes on Reels goes on Facebook, and that's how we approach that.
Okay, great. Anybody else want to
I
add?
do have to backtrack a little bit. We do prefer horizontal video for Facebook. Different audience, they're looking for a different thing, different stories being told there, different lengths of videos. We've tried to use Instagram Reels across to Facebook Reels, and because our audiences for us, it's so drastically different, and the types of content, the trends, the things we're jumping on there are so different, it hasn't been received as well.
Okay.
I echo Nick. I feel like I'm probably our video team's least favorite person because I'm like, can you cut this 3 different ways
Right.
for different platforms? Because I feel like you have to now. So yeah, we're very much the same on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so same way.
Perfect. Talking about trends, one of you mentioned something about trends. How are you guys like leveraging into trends? I know we talked a little bit yesterday about that in the other social media, but I'm curious about all of you, trends versus announcements. I know it comes down to the audience, but Nick, why don't you start this one a little bit?
Yeah, so it is a content mix. We do jump on trends. We, like Jamie said yesterday, love a good Taylor Swift reference. The amount of comments that we see that are like, Tamu's a Swiftie, are astronomical. But we sprinkle those in there every now and then. We don't want to be memey. We are a research institution first and foremost. And so we're telling those stories in whatever the best way to get eyes on them are. So it is heavily research. It's heavily, announcements. It's heavily student features, faculty features, things like that. And then when there's a trend that makes sense for the platforms that we're on, the audience that we're speaking to, and the message that we're trying to get across, we'll jump on and have a little fun. I think social media is very much about experimenting and keeping people on the edge of their seat. And what is Texas A&M going to do next on social media? And so when the trends help us to do that, we jump on them.
I like that. I like that, on the edge of your seat. How about Ellen, you?
We, again, echo Nick here, but we have every platform, and I'm sure you all do as well, down to percentages of how much type of content we'll post. So our whole organization knows, okay, if we're trying to reach a particular audience with this type of content, this is the platform that makes sense for it. So we're having a little bit more fun on like Instagram. We're actually, I'm really excited. We're a Swiftie school too. So we're doing a parody of Taylor Swift's tour poster because she's going to be in Detroit next week with Sparty and Sparty's eras. So we know the students are going to love that, but I'm not going to post that on LinkedIn. So we're going to be a little more serious on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn would love it too.
So I think the summary here is lean into Taylor Swift.
That's
Key takeaway.
Yep. How about you guys? Brian?
Yeah, I think the key is planning and looking at your data. So come up with an editorial calendar so you know what your distribution is across those different areas. And then, there are going to be things, if you're following trends, you're going to need to be quicker to put that content out. So make sure you're tracking and looking at your data afterwards to see if you're starting to lean too heavily one way or the other.
Okay, good.
In order to be the one, you have to be fearless. Thank you. What I found, this is interesting to me. I loved trends. I shared it at the job before I got the job at Middlebury. I shared a trendy video. My audiences did not like it. My audiences do not want that from us. They're like, that is not who we are when we present ourselves out to we're much so. I found that it does not work. So now I don't have to worry about that as much.
Good. And I think that's a good point, really understanding who your audience is. I mean, I think that the audience, the content calendar, the experimentation, I think those are all really good points. So real quick on this one, another current issue, blue verification, Twitter. Tell us about that, Brian.
We are not pursuing that. There are some groups within our institution that may get the blue check mark themselves just for doing ads, but across the institution, we're just letting it go.
Okay.
We've had several talks about that with people who use Twitter. Some of the experts that work at Middlebury and the various things they have huge Twitter followings in their field. Wanted to know if we wanted to offer that to them, but in the end, it didn't have value for us, and there are things that we could spend that money on. $12,000 a year is a lot of money to spend that we could do something else. So we are also not, at the moment, being Twitter verified.
Nick?
Yeah, so we talked to some peer institutions around Texas and around the SEC, the conference that we are in, and got a vibe check from everybody there, got a temperature check, and we are not currently pursuing, and I don't plan to until our content is throttled or we see a negative reaction for our social media or for our, posts, our analytics from the platform because we are not blue verified. When that happens, we'll take another look at it, but for now, we're not pursuing it.
Okay, Ellen?
We do have Twitter Blue. If you go to our page, you will see we have a gold, which we were given. We are not paying $1,000 a month for it. Our decision was kind of under a little bit of a sad lens, so we were having discussions about whether or not to get Twitter Blue about a month out of the mass shooting on our campus where 3 of our students were. Unfortunately, we lost them. So we were just thinking, you know, that night when that happened, the amount of information and misinformation that we were seeing on Twitter was so massive. So is a check going to stop people from spreading misinformation during a crisis? No, but we were like, if it at all helps us cut through some of that noise, get factual information to people, $8 a month for us is worth it. So that's kind of our lens and our thinking of why we decided to pursue it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ellen. You had mentioned something about Facebook, kind of rolling something out too.
Yeah, so I did experiment and I did pay to get myself meta-verified on Facebook to see what that would be like, to have a little ego boost of seeing the blue check next to my name, which when I log in is like, ooh, look at me. Huh? But my main concern was if Meta is really going to lean into that as a fundraising thing for the pages that we run. If they, in the past we had to send in our pictures and get that letter sent back to us at our own personal mailboxes so that we could post about climate change or politics or anything that we talk about so much on our campuses. I am concerned that Meta is going to say, in order to be able to do that, you are going to have to be verified as a personal account. So to get a little bit of ahead of what I suspect may happen,
Okay.
I did do that.
Okay, great. Real quick question here. How are you all preparing for potential disruptions or bans on social media? So Nick, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, that's, I think.
Yeah, so there's a quote that I like. It's from Hank Green. I say quote, it's a tweet.
That's a quote for him.
Yeah, everyone loves Hank Green. Love a good Hank Green TikTok. And I have this hanging up in my office, and it's essentially, I'm going to paraphrase, it says something like, I don't care about the I don't care if a platform is good. I don't care if Twitter is good, because my content is good, and that's what I'm selling. So with disruption, that's what I'm looking at. Twitter's changing. Twitter's getting weird. I don't care what Elon Musk is doing as long as we're seeing engagement, we're seeing impressions, and I can continue to tell the university story and get out the information that I need. We've worked so long to build up that following, we all have, on Facebook or Twitter or whatever the platform is. Until that goes under, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing as long as there's a reason for me to do it. Now that's to say I can't be on TikTok legally, and so
Legally.
Be careful.
Black market higher ed TikTok. I'm into that.
So
VPN to
we're
change,
working
yeah.
with what we have, and ultimately it comes down to audiences. Is this new platform that's coming up, is there an audience there that I could be talking to that I'm not currently talking to? Are there features there? Are there opportunities for us to tell our story better or showcase our students better? That's what I'm looking at, and if there isn't, and I don't have the bandwidth or I don't have the resources, I mean, that's another thing is everybody in this room has a different sized team. You're coming from a different sized institution with different priorities. If you don't have the resources to post consistently high quality on TikTok, you probably shouldn't do it, you know? And so that's the other thing we have to look at. Do I have the resources for a new platform every month? Probably not.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to analyze it when it comes out.
How about you, Ellen?
One of my favorite quotes is, even Beyonce only has 24 hours in a day. When Mastodon came out, I just thought, like, I'm too tired for this. So we have one of the smallest teams in the Big Ten for a social team. It's just myself and one other person. So we're very much the same, where it's like, build where you are and where your audience already is. We have a community there until things change and we're not seeing any engagement, we'll leave. I think sometimes instead of hopping over to a new platform, you can look at what you're doing where you are currently. So do you need to shift your content strategy a little bit? Should you post a little less, a little more? Just kind of taking a look and seeing, are there other things we could be doing where we're at versus going somewhere new?
That's good. I'm going to shift things up a little bit. I'm going to ask Andrew, and then I'm going to come back to Brian. Andrew?
Platforms don't matter. It's content that matters. The medium is the message, to go with the quoting thing that Marshall McLuhan says. So whatever you're sharing on, you're telling a story in some place. And audiences are getting so versatile at going around and finding us that I think the time of when we have to be in one place is slowly changing. As long as they're out there, they will find what they want to know.
Okay. And Brian, I wanted to kind of end on content, so that's why I wanted to switch things around. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, so what matters is where the audience is. And if you're putting out great content on a channel where your audience is, then you're going to be able to connect with them. It's important to remember, Joe Polizzi says, social media is rented land, right? It is, we do not own it. We have limited access to the data. We have limited access to the algorithm, to the distribution, at whether our accounts even remain active. We have limited access to that. So it's important to know that wherever you can, try to be able to migrate that audience over to some owned channel, newsletter, have some other way to connect with them. I think it's important to stay aware of the other channels that are coming out, Mastodon, Blue Sky, all the different social channels that are being created, to at least understand them and look at the audiences that are there. But yeah, I think put out quality content on the channels.
Can I say one more thing
Yeah.
about that? Is that we say go where the audiences are. The audiences are on the internet. So as long as we're going there,
Yeah.
that's where they are.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And lastly, when these things come out, when Blue Sky comes out and you get an invitation, go claim your username, go claim your handle for your university, even if you're not going to use it, because
Right.
you don't want someone else to have it.
Right.
And if you have a Blue Sky invitation, talk to me after.
Yeah, I'm sure. I did. So with Mastodon, you mentioned that. I love big fan of Mastodon. We're not talking about that, but about the handles, I did go and I got the Middlebury at Mastodon.social one, a while ago. And then so when this whole big thing was happening, one of the people on my team was asking like, well, which Mastodon instance are we on, the real one? And I didn't want to go into the whole how Fediverse works, but I was like, yes, we're on the real one because we have it right there in that URL. So
I have a funny story about grabbing your name. So don't be me. I didn't get to TikTok as soon as I would have liked, and a student got it. Like, very smart student, congratulations. And he emailed me and he said, what will you do for this handle? How much will you pay? Can you get me football tickets?
Is that entrepreneur?
football tickets, that's easy.
Yes, so it got deleted and we reclaimed it, but that's just like a learning story.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a conference that I spent like at this in 1994 when I was just getting into the internet. Somebody was talking about squatting. And they said, go out and buy McDonald's.com, go out and buy BurgerKing.com. And I didn't know how to do it. I wish I would have.
Oh, you wouldn't be here today.
I wouldn't be here today, no. Okay, let's kind of, final question before we open it up to some questions for the audience. What are your thoughts on the future of social media engagement? We talked a little bit about that here, but I'm going to insert a little bit of yesterday into today, especially with AI coming. So Brian, let's start with you this time.
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, so the future of social media is going to change dramatically. I think we're going to see more migration to smaller community-based social platforms. I think Mastodon kind of sets us up for that, where now you're talking to people who really have the same interests instead of just going out on Twitter where there's everything in the world and it's just a deluge. AI, so many applications, from creating content, engaging with content, monitoring content, looking at data. I think the landscape is going to change dramatically, especially when we start talking about metaverse and Web3 and integrating those. In 5 years, the conversation is going to be very different than it is today. So I think just keeping an open mind about what's in the future and paying attention to what other people are doing, learning from people outside of higher ed, I think is critically important for us.
Yeah, okay, Andrew?
Social media engagement, I believe, in the future is going to be all about paid. Social networking engagement is going to be more about the organic work that we do. Back to the days of when we had 0 Instagram followers, we're just launching that and all the work that we do. It's hard work to build up your Mastodon instance. It is very, very hard and frustrating. The dopamine that comes from impressions and reach metrics, which feed us every single day, aren't there. So you post that piece of content and you did it matter?
Echo.
Yeah, but I know that I'm putting out, somebody is going to see it. So I think those impressions, and so anyway, to answer the question, social media engagement is going to be how much money can you pay to get into the social media. Social networking is going to be where the real work is.
That's interesting, I like that. Nick?
Yeah, so the future of social media, we don't know, but we maybe have some good guesses. I agree that it's going to niche communities. You see that on your For You page on TikTok. Whether the algorithm is choosing those communities for you and you end up on a weird corner of TikTok, or you're choosing those communities for yourself on a place like Reddit, which Texas A&M loves a lot. We really like Reddit. Your For You page on Twitter as well. I think it's going to these communities, it's putting you in a bucket to see what you want to see or what the algorithm wants you to see. For engagement, I love a tried and true. Our team always says, sweat the small stuff. Those one-on-one engagements that take a little extra time, liking, commenting, engaging with, pinning a comment on Instagram, doing whatever those things are, go such a long way for your engagement. They do take a little bit more time. But that engagement is tried and true, and that is a memorable experience that is giving people trust and a loyalty in your brand that other types of large-scale social posts or other types of managing your community probably doesn't, in my opinion.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Ellen, how about you guys?
Yeah, I feel like during COVID we saw more than ever people are craving connection, and as long as there's internet, social media is going to be important when people are craving that. What goes along with that, the downside, I suppose, is there's still that demand, and it's only going to increase of needing an immediate response to whatever question you have. Sometimes the things that students or alumni DM us for, it'll be a really urgent issue, and I'm like, why are you on Instagram asking this? Like, that's a whole different story, but I feel like we're only going to see more of that sort of like customer service angle is going to increase as well, and you have to be prepared for both sides of it.
I think that customer service piece, though, the reason that they're reaching out to you and doing that is because y'all are so good at social media and they trust your brand.
Right.
They look at you and they say, oh, this is a reliable entity. This is a reliable Instagram account. If I reach out to them, they will talk to me because, you know, it's authentic and real social media. So it's a compliment, but also it's hardship on your team.
Yes, you have to be reliable to be that.
Yeah, that's great.
I think I also am thinking about the both of engagement, people engaging with our content and then us going out and commenting on posts. And that's becoming more and more important, is to take the time of your workday, maybe not creating content today, I'm going and doing some social listening and seeing what people are saying, and then engaging on those posts. And to stick with our Taylor Swift theme, which is great, she does that. That's what she does. As my friend Liz Gross talks about all of the time, that's what has made Taylor so successful, is she sees what her fan says and she makes a comment on there like, oh my God, that sounds great. And the fans just love that. Your fans will do that too.
Yeah.
If you comment on their post, they'll be seen and received by the place that they love, and then they will react. So I think some of the engagement is us talking with people in that way.
That's great.
Yeah. I think another thing to remember about social is that it is becoming more and more of a search platform. 30% of Gen Zs start any brand research on social. They don't go to Google. And I think we're going to have to lean more and more into discoverability and making sure that our content is findable on social search.
Okay. Before I open it up into questions, I wanted to there was one thing you guys both said, and I'm going to just focus on you two, metaverse. I've heard people talk about that. It's like, oh, is that really seriously still around? Are we still talking about that? Tell us, because I think we are, and I think we're getting ready to be shocked. But Ryan, tell me what you think.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Ball wrote a great book called The Metaverse, and it talks about all the issues that we're facing right now, mostly from a technology standpoint and adoption standpoint. Once we figure those out, the next generation is ready for the metaverse. My wife and I have 6 kids from 16 to 23, and they will come down and throw on the VR headset and play games, no problem. And once the technology figures out the AR, VR glasses that will look just like regular glasses, and you can switch back and forth, it's going to be a game changer for sure.
I think so too. So what do you think?
One of the things, the Fediverse is the thing, the decentralized federated network of servers that make up the Mastodon instances. It's just amazing. Frees you from the algorithm. The big thing is no advertising. There's no advertising on these platforms, and it takes me so long when I'm scrolling through my Mastodon feed to just sort of hit me. I haven't seen an ad in half an hour, and just the clarity of my mind of not being marketed to is nice sometimes.
Yeah.
And when you're in a community who you're talking to.
Yeah, and there's not enough time to talk about it. One of the things is, when I talk about it, it's like the Star Trek universe, the federation of planets, and then how they're all united in a common cause, but they have individual identities. And I think that's the real power of the Fediverse in the future.
Okay. Let's get into some questions. Yeah.
Thank you. Nick, I love that you brought up Reddit. I'm not in it yet, and I've heard really good research promotional strategies, getting into the subreddits and things. Sounds like a lot of work to get into it. But are you doing it for that purpose, building community networks? What's working?
All of it. So Reddit is really cool, and actually it is less time. It's a little lead time. It takes a little time to get started and find which communities are right for you to speak into. But once you figure that out and you know I'm going to go to r/science or r/architecture, whatever you're trying to talk to, it is pretty easy because unlike on Twitter, Instagram, you can kind of spam. You can post 30 times in a day, and people aren't going to know you're doing that. We really key in on r/Texas or r/barbecue or r/some sort of agriculture thing, being in ag school. And so we can share things there, and if a post misses and people don't like it, oh well, we'll try again tomorrow. But if it goes off, and that's a lot more clicks or a lot more reads on your stories or whatever you're trying to sell. The other great thing is there's a subreddit community for everything, including your colleges and your schools. And so we do a lot of listening on our r/Aggies to see why our students are upset today or what's going on campus. We don't post there too much because we don't want to be like the parent in the room and dissuade people from posting, but just keeping an ear out to what people are talking about, what they're wanting to see, what they're struggling with, what we can help with customer service-wise. So it's a really great place to post specifically to communities who care about what you're talking about. And then it's also a really great place for us to listen to our community.
Great question. Bill?
Since you clearly chose to sit this way, what role does being public or private in your social media strategy?
I'll answer, because I went from a public school to a private school recently in the change. So it was a big adjustment for me of what the audiences wanted. The private school was much more, this is our family, this is our don't air family business in public, was a big thing, was an adjustment that I had to make, versus the public school where it's like everything is all about there. So the audience is much more tight-knit and expects more feeling of hanging out in the living room, versus the public university was more, hey, it's like a festival versus a family party.
Anybody want to add anything to that, Nick?
Tactically, I already mentioned some laws that can't let us post on TikTok, but I also think Texas A&M is the largest university in the United States, 75,000 students. And so we have a lot going on at all times, and so there are a lot of audiences for us to talk to, and that is why we're on so many platforms and why we have to keep an eye out for the upcoming things and what's next and making sure that we're covering all the bases that we need to cover. But yeah, there's always something going on. It's fun being such a large school.
Nick and I are always just trying not to get sued.
Yes,
That's fair.
Yeah, you have to, I think about, like you said, all of those audiences, and I mean, we have a very mixed set of alumni, students, so you just have to be really careful, and the comments are always interesting in terms of what you can limit and can't limit and things like that.
yeah.
I guess that is actually a fascinating thing,
Yeah.
because at the private college, there's much more leeway on comments that we can hide
Yeah.
and delete and ban, because we're not as like, oh, you're taking all of our money. So that is a very interesting thing to think about, the difference. That's a very specific one.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, here.
You were talking about social networking before. I'm just wondering how you guys handle Discord.
I launched a Discord. We just talked about this in the room. Love Discord. Saw Discord this is a great way to reach people. Created one, got buy-in from my leadership to actually boost the Discord server. Started sharing on, created a whole bunch of different channels on our server. And then so what I've learned is that I can't be the person who does it. I need to build it and then give it out to the people. And that is my project for this fall, is to get students to be the admins on there, to get alums to be the people that engage on there, to be them that run that channel. I can have my own little place on the Discord, but I think Discord is a great place for the future to connect people again with their communities. It keeps people all together in a place. You can create private rooms, has so much potential. I would love to talk with you more about how Discord can lead into all of these other things.
Okay. I think you had a question here.
Did that answer what you were?
I was asking everybody.
Oh, everyone, okay.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Discord and Circle, all the community platforms. I think community building is the way of the future for any business or brand, personal or institutional. That being said, I think Discord communities are best run by the students or whoever that community is being focused on. And you cannot have a successful Discord without community moderators. You need people in there to manage the community and engage and keep conversations going.
Okay, great. Anybody else want to add? You good? Good. One last question here.
Okay, you bet. Thanks. Ellen, you mentioned alumni, and I'd be curious to know what role they play in your social strategy.
As an audience,
As an engine to output content, or if they impact your social strategy at all.
I just wanted to clarify because we call our alumni office alumni, so. Yes. So we are really focused on the alumni audience on Facebook and LinkedIn. We actually just did some audience kind of reevaluation. We've always had our audiences listed in our social strategy as a social team, but we decided to be a little more inclusive and bring someone from every team in to discuss like who did they see as our audiences on social. And so where we landed was actually the place where we began, but we decided that we really want to focus on current undergrad students, prospects, and young alumni. So how we define that is 10 years out or under 35. We also did a bunch of analysis on all the different platforms to kind of see in general who is our like prototype or kind of persona, and we found out that it was a 25-year-old guy who loves beer.
Fair?
Yes.
Good.
So those two platforms in particular where we were focusing that work and that content. So again, you're seeing a little bit more of nostalgic type posts, new additions to campus that maybe alumni don't know, some of that research work that Nick mentioned, whereas on Instagram, and hopefully we'll be on TikTok soon, you're seeing a little more trendy things, things that maybe wouldn't appeal as much to our alumni audience, like a dorm tour. They might not care what the same dorm that they were in looks like and still looks like years later. So that's kind of how they play a role in ours.
Okay. Any other?
No, I love that. Everything she said is perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do the same, but we also make sure that we still test alumni content on TikTok and Reels and stuff like that, because that audience is going to eventually become alumni. So.
Yep.
I have no time to answer with -1 minute and 20 seconds.
Let's give a round of applause to all of our panelists.